Okay, number 1 and 2, source 3350, control still 570, box 3350, cabin 34. Number 180.
Would somebody please answer that? All right, shalom, brothers and sisters, and happy Sabbath day to you all. Today we're going to be doing First Thessalonians Chapter 3. This is not going to be a long lesson at all, but before I get into the lesson, brothers and sisters, we got to do a little bit of a mic check. So I got to make sure this mic working right. So for those of you guys on Rumble, you can hear my voice really well. Not too much is going on with the mic, no wind noise, nothing like that. Just go ahead and put a 7 in the chat for me on Rumble if you guys can hear the mic really well. All right, Morris 2020. I really appreciate that. And shalom to you, Mark Carter and Aunt Psalm 09. Now that we're done with that, we're going to go over to YouTube. All right, so for those of you guys on YouTube, if you guys can hear me really well, there's no distortion in the mic, no wind noise, nothing crazy like that. Just go ahead and put a 7 in the chat for me. All right, brothers and sisters. I definitely appreciate that. I did want to say or remind you all to make sure, brothers and sisters, that you have temperance in this generation. Again, make sure that you have temperance. Make sure you have your anger and everything, your emotions in check, brothers and sisters, because Satan is out here working. I'm not kidding either. Now, I know watched 2 car accidents this week happen right in front of you, especially one right in front of my gym. And because these people are aggressive, brothers and sisters, and they are angry. And if you don't have the temperance, if you don't have your emotions in check, brothers and sisters, Satan coming for you, and he don't need much. He gonna stir up the perfect situation. He gonna bring the right person by to set you off, and that's gonna be all she wrote, as they say. And trust me, these heathen and stuff, they do not mind locking you up. They have no issues with that, brothers and sisters. I see it every day when I'm driving, people cutting you off, and you at 4-way stop signs trying to turn, people trying to ram you with their car. And even though they do that to you, brothers and sisters, don't you do that to them. Because that's how Satan works. Boy, I was finna say something else, but that's how Satan works. He get people to do stuff to you because he wants you to do it to them. No, we don't operate like that, brothers and sisters. And this is what Christ is trying to teach us. Though people do certain things to you, you don't do it to them. And boy, it is tempting, because we are flesh and blood, men and women, and it's hard, brothers and sisters. Some people, you want to tell them off, you want to cuss them out, knock them out. You be want to do all kind of crazy stuff to them. And I say it, brothers and sisters, because these are the feelings that well up inside of us. And this is why we must meditate on Christ. We must meditate on his word, so that way we can keep this flesh under subjection. And that's what Paul was saying. You got to constantly kill this flesh, or you will end up on the news. You will end up in the cell. You will end up losing your job. You will end up losing your wife. You will end up losing your husband. You will end up losing your kids. You will end up losing your friends. Nobody will want to be around you because you ain't got that temperance in check. And it's hard, brothers and sisters. It is. I smile every day, all day. I'm always laughing, but make no mistake, brothers and sisters, it's tough. Because Satan wanna beat that out of you. He wanna beat the virtue out of you. He want to beat those things that the Lord say is good. He want to beat that right out of you. And he'll use anything, brothers and sisters, to do it. He'll use your family. He'll use your friends, co-workers, somebody out in public. He'll use anybody. So you got to always be on guard. And especially as Israelites, we've already been going through a lot, throughout the centuries, taking abuse by these heathens. So for us, man, being disrespected and mishandled and stuff, it'd be tough on us. But that's why, the Lord said, hey, cast your burdens on me. Cast your troubles on me. But see, we don't want to do that because we still trying to figure out a way to handle it, to do something. The Lord like, no, man, don't do that. You let me handle it. And we say that and we still trying to figure out ways to do something. Put your trust wholly on the Most High. Satan do one or two few things and he set your behind off for the rest of the day. You angry for days and weeks and months, all of that. That's what Satan come to do, though. He come to steal your joy and to make everyone else around you miserable. And that's why nobody want to be around people today. I be in the store, Walmart, Target, it don't matter where. I be in the store, you could just see it in people's face. They don't even want to be around each other, brothers and sisters. You could tell at any moment if the law and here in America was moved out the way, these people would savage each other. And see, that's what the Lord is showing you. When there is no love, men and women savage each other. And let me tell y'all, heathen something. Listen here. Trump ain't finna solve none of y'all problems. Y'all might well throw that mess out y'all mind. Let me tell you something. He could boost the economy, right? He can actually do it. He could lower energy prices, lower oil, gas, and all that stuff for you. But if there's no change of mind, if you don't have love, all of that other stuff is meaningless. Guess what? You gonna be mean and hateful with cheap gas. You gonna be mean and hateful with a low electric bill. Because it's this right here, brothers and sisters. This has to change. This is the one thing that can't no man change for you. You have to change that. That's the problem with these. We're going to switch it from Israel. We're going to switch it from the heathen to Israel. This is Israel's problem. They running around with the law of Moses, laws all over the place. But this right here, there's no change up here. You just a mean and hateful Israelite that keep the Sabbath day. You just a mean and hateful Israelite that got your meat cut. You a mean and hateful Israelite who keep the Passover. And these brothers and sisters, they know it's the truth. Absolutely no love. Love, brothers and sisters, is not in the driver's seat. That's the issue. And that is the issue with the heathen too. Love is not in the driver's seat. Look at this stuff in America. They make law after law after law. But why is there no change? Because there's not a law in the mind, the law of love. If that law of love was sitting in the driver's seat, there would be no need for a written law. You would need no more laws. Because laws abound because of mistreatment.
That's right.
And these laws are created to cover these mistreatments that pop up. But if your law was love, if that governed the people, if that governed the land, there would be no more need to create these laws. I would not need a law to say, thou shalt not abuse your wife. If what? Love was my law, because if love was my law, I wouldn't abuse my wife. You see how that worked?
Mm-hmm.
Thou shalt love thy husband. Hey, you wouldn't need that if love was in the driver's seat and that governed you. You wouldn't need a law because you'll do it automatically because love tells you to do so. Thou shalt not steal. I don't need that. Why? Because love is in the driver's seat. Love would tell me, hey, don't steal from your brother. That's wrong. He been not working the field all day, getting his substance, and I come and steal his stuff. Love tells me that wouldn't feel good if it happened to me. I don't need love. I don't need a law telling me, oh, hey, yeah, make sure you don't use harsh words or any kind of words to stir up and give rise to my brother's anger. Why? Because love would tell me not to do that because I wouldn't want it done to me. Gee, that wouldn't feel good if that happened to me. So why would I go do that to my brother? This is very simple, brothers and sisters. This is not hard at all. And mankind as a whole has a big issue with this. They just can't seem to understand and get it right. But yet there are laws, brothers, in this world alone. There are hundreds and thousands of laws. But all we see is what? Murder, genocide, thievery, extortion, abusing, lying all over the place, homosexuality everywhere. Why? Because there's no love. Love is the law, brothers and sisters. Love worketh no ill to his brother. And if you let that be your law, you have no need for any other law, brothers and sisters. Any business, any corporation, hey, what your policy gonna be? What your law gonna be? Love. And that's gonna keep you from doing evil years down the road. Because companies always start off good. Right? Got their little policies, all their little laws in place, but then 10, 15 years down the road, they doing evil. Why? Because love isn't the law. Love is a constant that never changes. That's a constant that never changes. And as long as you abide by that, hey man, any family structure, any organization, it'll go on forever. And I want to go here real quick, brothers and sisters. because we get lied on a lot. Because you have a lot of brothers and sisters that say that under Christ, we are lawless, but we're not. Brothers and sisters, Christ is the law. And what was his doctrine? That we are to love one another. That is the law. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 10. And we're going to read verse 8. And I'm going to read it. It says, the wise in heart will receive commandments, but a prating fool shall fall. And you'll have brothers that go to this and they'll see the wise in heart going to receive the commandments. But see, under Christ, they say to hell with them commandments, lying on us. But what you don't understand, brother, right here, the wise in heart will receive the commandments. But whose commandments? That's what you're not asking yourself. Whose commandments? Because we are receiving commandments. Don't tell that lie. We are receiving commandments under Christ. But the problem is, we are receiving commandments, but whose commandments? We receive the commandments of Christ, brothers and sisters. That's the commandments we receive, which is superior to Moses. It's superior in every way. And here in the future, I may have to do a series on Christ versus Moses. In the sense of showing you guys the difference in how Christ is superior. Because a lot of you brothers and sisters, and some of y'all in here double talking, and you know who you are. But some of y'all, you lightly esteem the rock. You lightly esteem Christ. But you highly esteem your elders. You highly esteem your teachers. You highly esteem Moses. But you lightly esteem Christ. That's an issue, brothers and sisters. And this is why you guys don't take Christ serious. You don't see the value in him. You don't see his superiority. But we're going to set the record straight, brothers and sisters, and we're going to continue to teach Christ. And for those of you who don't like it, hey, you know what churches and street camps you can go to where they teach the law of Moses. You can go right over there where they teach it, but they're under an inferior covenant. We're under a superior covenant. When you come to Israel's church, you are amongst believers who are under Christ. And don't be sitting up in here double talking. And you know who you are. Do I know who it is? Nope, but you know who you are. Again, you don't like we teach Christ over here. Hey man, you can go right over that. Some of these churches and these street camps that teach Moses under that inferior covenant, but we're under the superior covenant. And over here, we're making a difference. I see a lot of these, especially them street camps. A lot of them, when they go to the New Testament, they don't realize they be making huge mistakes. They be reading stuff that pertain to the law of Christ, but they're using it unknowingly for the law of Moses. commandments that they see under the law of Christ. Yeah, see this right here? This is why we keep the commandment. No, that's under Christ. We need to make a difference, brothers and sisters. And over here, we're going to continue to make the difference. All right. But we're going to go ahead and get into the lesson, brothers and sisters. We're going to be doing 1 Thessalonians chapter 3. This is going to be a relatively short lesson. This is only like 13 verses. So we're not going to be here all day. We're going to get what we get out of this, and we're going to call it a day. Now, before we read 1 Thessalonians 3 and 1 Thessalonians 2, Paul, Silvanus, and Timotheus, they were just expressing their joy in the fact that their entrance or their coming to the Israelites in Thessalonica was not in vain. And why wasn't it in vain, brothers and sisters? Because the men and women, they converted to Christ. And remember, they were steeped deep in idolatry. It was a very idolatrous city. And so when they came to the faith in Christ, the news of their faith spread abroad because, come on, guys, Thessalonian, that's the second largest city in Greece. Some real idolatry going on up in there. So for them Israelites to turn, that basically made news among them Israelites in the region round about. And that made Paul, Silvanus, and Timothy, that made them real happy. Because remember, them teaching Christ to them Thessalonians, that came with a price, brothers and sisters. That wasn't free. They got they behind beat. You get beat. You get slandered, lied on. You get thrown in the prison. They were getting given up to the council. All kind of stuff was happening to them. So when they seen the fruit of their labor, that's why it says in 1 Thessalonians 2 and 20, it says, "For ye are our glory and joy." Why? Because these Israelites, these men and women of Thessalonica, was the fruit of these men labor. We took all of them beatings, the bloody lips, black eyes, being starved to death. Listen, because all kind of crazy stuff was happening to them. It was all worth it. It was all worth it because you guys have come to Christ. You are now in the truth. And when we say in the truth, it ain't talking about Moses like these brothers saying. No, in the truth meaning Christ. Because Christ is the truth. He is that breath that Israel needs. And so because Paul, Silvanus, and Timothy won these brothers and sisters over in Thessalonica, that lets you know that they have now become the fathers of these Israelites in Thessalonica. So these are their children. And the bloodline continues. All right. 1 Thessalonians chapter 3. And we're going to read verses 1 through 3. And sister, when you get there, go ahead.
All right. Wherefore, when we could no longer forbear, we thought it good to be left at Athens alone.
Okay. It says, wherefore, when we could no longer forbear, because remember, they desired to see their children in Thessalonica, to see how they were doing, to see how their faith was holding up. So they desired to see these men, but obviously, a lot of them was running. They was under pressure. And I'm talking about Paul, Silvanus, and Timothy. They were being chased, all kind of stuff. And a lot of time it thwarted their path. It's like we desired to come see you, but Satan hindered us because they was dealing with these unbelieving Jews and the leadership of Israel. So they couldn't really go where they wanted to go. And we know that was of the Lord because the Lord needed this gospel to spread everywhere. It says, we thought it good to be left. We thought it good to be left at Athens alone. So they decided to just make their stay at Athens. Brothers and sisters, I got a question for you. Where is Athens located? Where is Athens located? Okay, Athens is located in Greece, absolutely. Now, what is the capital of Greece? What is the capital of Greece? What's the capital of Greece? Good. There we go, brothers and sisters. Athens. And if you know about Athens, Athens was the capital of Greece, and it was also the largest city in Greece. And if you don't know anything about the history of Greece, there was some serious idolatry going on up in there. And to this day, brothers and sisters, they still got the statues and everything to prove it. Some serious stuff going on up in there. All kind of crazy philosophies and everything was going on. And because Israel was among these heathen, Israel got caught up in a lot of this stuff. That's why it's saying Paul was moved when he seen the whole city given to idolatry. Now, was he worried about the heathen given to idolatry? No. He was moved when he seen Israel given to the idolatry. That's right. Sassy Brit, named after the goddess Athena. Supposed to be the god of wisdom. Man, sit down.
Still got a lot of Israelites today pledging Greek.
Yeah, that's
still
right.
These fraternities and sororities, they still involve heathen customs.
Mm-hmm. Y'all don't know that either, but a lot of these teachers, y'all up in light, a lot of them, they was in sororities, still on them. Mm-hmm. They pledged Greek and everything. Where you think that stuff come from, brothers and sisters? That Greek philosophy is everywhere, because remember, Greece was a world power. They was nothing to play with when they was in their prime. They was a world power. That's why you see, it don't matter where you go in the world, you can see that Greek influence. That's because they had taken the whole world and they Greek philosophy, all kinds. That's why all over is gymnasiums, everything. Gyms, they call them. Workout facilities, because that's that Greek culture, Greek customs. It ain't went nowhere. That influence is still lingering today. Go ahead, Sower.
I was gonna say that's where if you look at the black boule, most of them, they all come out of that for pledging Greek fraternities and sororities.
Yep, the black boule. That's right. That's where they come out.
And
they come out of.
The heathen use them, Hellenize them.
Mm-hmm.
Use them kind of like how, Nebuchadnezzar, he chose certain blacks, certain Jews that he would use.
That's right. That's that group.
Yeah.
That's the boule.
Yep. Separating us, the so-called smartest and the wisest and the brightest
and they use them against Israel.
Yep.
And they use them, that group right there, to control our people. And our people love them too. Greece was no joke, brothers and sisters. Especially when Antiochus came on the scene. That was a wicked joke right there. But we got to keep it going. It says, wherefore, when we could no longer forbear, we thought it good to be left at Athens. So that's where they made their stay. Verse 2.
And sent Timotheus, our brother and minister of God, and our fellow laborer in the gospel of Christ, to establish you and to comfort you concerning your faith.
Now, Timothy was the son of Paul, right? Not literally. Y'all know what I'm saying. But he was the son of Paul. And we see Timothy is also being sent to his sons and daughters, which was in Thessalonica. All right. Now, we just skip right over this right here. It says, and he sent Timothy as our brother and minister of God. But wait a minute, brothers and sisters. Aforetime and in times past, who is the minister of God? Who was that in time past? Who was the minister of God in time past? And it can be ministers because they was all ministers. But who was the minister in time past, brothers and sisters? That's a question. That's right, Bernadette Bell. The Levites. The Levites were in time past. Let's go read it. Let's go to Deuteronomy 21. And I believe it's something else in Deuteronomy 18. But Deuteronomy 21, and we're going to read verse 5. Okay, go ahead.
And the priest, the sons of Levi, shall come near. For them the Lord thy God hath chosen to minister unto him and to bless in the name of the Lord. And by their word shall every controversy and every stroke be tried.
Now, wait a minute. Now, see, we just skip right over that. So in times past, the minister or ministers of God was the Levites. But right here in 1 Thessalonians Chapter 3, we see Timothy. Right? We see Timothy. He's being called the minister of God. I thought that was only for the Levites, though. Because, brothers and sisters, there's been a change in covenant. And not only has there been a change in covenant, this is a superior covenant. This is a covenant under Christ. And guess what? What did Christ say? He said the believers, the children of faith, they are the kings. They are the what? Priests. Don't let that go over your head. He doesn't mean that allegorically, hypothetically, analogy-wise. No, brothers and sisters, he means that. Priest with a capital P. And kings too. Because under Christ, those that believe, they are now the kings and priests. But under Moses, it was the Levites. Don't let that type of stuff go over your head, brothers and sisters. That is a clear difference in covenants. That's a clear difference, brothers and sisters, in covenants. And we can't skip over stuff like that. We got to dwell on that thing. What does that mean, minister of God? Where have I heard that before? Well, that's when you go back and you read and you find out, oh, because under the old covenant, the minister or ministers of God were the Levites. But under Christ, it's these Israelites who believe of what? Any tribe. Because the Father is looking for somebody that's going to worship him in spirit and in truth. And let me also look at this right here. It says, and by their word shall every controversy and stroke be tried. Guess what that means? That now applies to who? The children of faith, who are Israelites. Clear difference, brothers and sisters. And a lot of people say, oh, you know, Timothy was a Gentile. Timothy was not no Gentile. Thank you, Salika Rutherford. Timothy was not no darn Gentile. He was a Gentile, but he wasn't no Gentile. He was not a non-Israelite. But that's what the heathen do. But that be the teachings of who? The heathen are masters, because they want to insert themselves in our book. That's what they do. No, Timothy was an Israelite. Just like me, I'm an American. But am I really an American? Man, stop. And you was going to say something, Zara?
Yeah, I was going to say too. So that means a lot of the teachers in these camps and churches who call themselves teaching the law, teaching the old covenant, that mean they have to take a seat.
Take a back seat to who?
To the, because remember the Levites. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To the Levites, because the Levites were the ones that had been given authority from God to teach or instruct the people from the law, not just anybody of any tribe.
Right.
So you'd have to take a seat.
That's right. And then that's when they'll try to bring up Christ.
Mm-hmm. That's when they'll run to Christ.
No, you can't run to Christ, because remember, you either under Moses or you under Christ. No, when it don't benefit you, don't try to come and run up here under Christ. Stay your behind right there under Moses. Go get you some Levites who you don't know who they are anyway. You say you know, you don't know. Israel love playing games.
They play games all the time. And you know, in some of these camps, they say that the Levites are the Haitians.
Ain't got no Haitians up there.
But if that's true and you're supposed to be teaching the law, then I need to see our Haitian brothers up there teaching it.
All of them.
Because you say that they are the Levites.
But see, this is the games that Israel play. And see, when things don't benefit them, then this is when they come try to run under the superior covenant. This is when they try to come run under Christ. Ain't no mixing the covenant, brothers and sisters. You trying to have your foot in this one and that one. No, you either under Moses or you are under Christ. Ain't none of that lukewarm stuff. You either cold or you hot. But you not finna be up under both. That's just not how we get down, brothers and sisters. You are either under Moses or you are under Christ. You are not under both. It doesn't work that way. Because the laws and the commandments under both are different. And the laws and commandments under Christ are superior. And in some ways harder. And again, brothers and sisters, don't be up in this comment section double talking. Y'all come over here, you believe, and then you go somewhere else. You got a whole different mindset. Get your behind out of here. Ooh, that offended me good. Leave offended. Because you got a lot of them Israelites, they be double talking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They believe whatever, depending on wherever they go. Man, get your behind out of here.
Yep.
You got to make a stand, brothers and sisters. You got to stand for something or you will fall for anything, as they say. You're going to be blown around like a leaf. If you believe you under Christ, stand with Christ. If you believe you under Moses, stand with Moses. Stand under that, brothers and sisters. But don't be up here double talking.
These Israelites be double dutching.
Double dutch. Go.
Mm-hmm.
It's enough of that nonsense, brothers and sisters. Believe what you believe and stand on it. All right. But it says in verse 2, it says, and sent Timotheus, our brother and minister of God, because why? Timothy is a priest, just like Paul is, and just like Silvanus and all the rest of them that believe, the apostles, they are all the priests, with Christ being who? The high priest. It says, in our fellow laborer in the gospel of Christ, not the gospel of Moses, the gospel of Christ, to establish you and to comfort you concerning your faith. So they were basically, so Paul and Silvanus, they sent Timotheus basically to strengthen these men, these Israelites' faith at Thessalonia. That's what they were doing, because remember, they was getting the crap beat out of them. We read in the last chapter how they were suffering at the hands of their own countrymen. What countrymen? These Israelites who what? Didn't believe. They suffered at the hands of them. Because where there's believers, brothers and sisters, you're going to always have unbelievers present. Just like here at Israel's church. We have where there's believers present, which we have believers, the unbelieving are also going to be present. And we are fully aware. But it ain't our job to separate the wheat from the tare. Our job is simply just teach and keep it moving. That's it. Verse 3.
That no man should be moved by these afflictions. For yourselves know that we are appointed thereunto.
Because these Thessalonians, these Israelites, these men and women that believe, they was being afflicted, brothers and sisters. And we're going to read that Paul told them, hey, you already knew these afflictions were coming. We was telling you. In fact, when we was telling you, we was being afflicted. Everywhere they went, they was afflicted, brothers and sisters. Before I go, I want to go. We're going to read through verse 5. Okay.
Verse 4. For verily, when we were with you, we told you before.
That's right.
That we should suffer tribulation, even as it came to pass, and you know.
That's right. Because they got beat up, brothers. Not only did Paul, Timothy, Silvanus, and them get beat up, Thessalonians got beat up. Whoever believed got beat up. Okay, keep going.
For this cause, when I could no longer forbear, I sent to know your faith.
So after Paul knew they had been afflicted and gone through the ringer, we call them the fiery trials of God. Because God got to see where your faith at too. I need to see. So Paul wanted to see where they faith stand. He wanted to see that they faith waver at all after the afflictions. Because you start off strong, you start off on fire. But then as people start talking about you, as you start to become the outcast, you start to look weird to people. As people start slandering you, telling on you. See, then something happens. See, now you're not as on fire. Now you're like, ooh, this kind of hurt a little bit. See, Paul, and not just Paul, but the Lord, he wanted to see where their faith was. Where your faith at? Because I got to see if you really about this thing. That's how the Lord get down. As they say, talk is cheap. Keep going.
I sent to know your faith, lest by some means the tempter have tempted you, and our labor be in vain.
meaning after them afflictions, you remember the parable of the sower, meaning after these afflictions, you became offended and departed from the faith. So he wanted to see whether or not these Thessalonians still believed. And see, this is where y'all Israelites gonna get it. This is where all of us gonna get it. When the Lord sit in that fiery trial to see. Because we all say we 100 with the Lord and we down, we got faith and all that, but it ain't until the fiery trials. It ain't until the tempter come that we and you figure out where you at. Do you really want this thing or not? And so Paul, he wanted to see. Let me see what has become of their faith after these afflictions. And not only did Paul tell them, Christ told them. Not directly, but that was a part of the teaching of Christ. He told them, hey, listen, you believe on me? Hey, you're going to get it. And the servant ain't greater than the master. Let's go real quick to John 15. Because Paul, Silvanus, and Timothy and all, they wasn't saying nothing different from what Christ, once told them. So let's go to John 15. And when I say Christ told them, I'm talking about the doctrine. John 15, and we're going to read verses 17 through 19. Go ahead.
These things I command you, that you love one another.
So just like Moses commanded you, well, Christ is commanding you that you love one another. That is the law. Go ahead.
If the world hate you,
Mm-hmm.
you know that it hated me before it hated you.
Now, brothers and sisters, what is this world? Because the heathen say it's everybody. What is this world, brothers and sisters? What is this world that hated these apostles, but hated Christ before it hated them? That's right, brothers and sisters. Israel, that's what this world is. Lord he ain't even worried about the heathen. He ain't dealing with them. He's talking about Israel. If Israel hates you, know that Israel hated me before they hated you. Okay, verse 19.
If you were of the world, the world would love his own.
That's right.
But because you are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you.
That's right. So he letting you know, hey, you come up under me, you serve me, and you abide by the kingdom far, far away's rules, just know you gonna get it. And that's what Christ told him. He warned him, hey, just know you're going to have some tribulation coming your way, some affliction by who? Your own people. By the Romans? Nope. Your own people, they coming for you. They going to give you up to the Romans. Let's go to Acts 14. Because see, Christ had already warned them. This ain't nothing new. This ain't nothing new. Acts chapter 14, and we're going to read verse 22. Go ahead.
Confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith.
That's right.
And that we must through much tribulation enter into the kingdom of God.
That's right. Through much tribulation, through much trouble. By who? The Romans? No, your people. Because Israel gonna want to tear you apart. The Lord likened Israel to wolves. And I've studied wolves, brothers. So I've looked at documentaries on wolves. They were savage over behind.
Mhm.
And they are the most formidable in what packs. And they oftentimes run in what packs. So whenever I see a wicked Israelite, I know that they have some group somewhere that they ride with. Because you know Israel, they don't like to do evil on their own. They like to run in packs like wolves.
And I say this because I saw a comment in the chat. And yes, this hate is coming from Israel, because when you think about it, it's, you know, the heathen or the other nations, they are our enemies.
Yeah,
So that's nothing that should surprise and shock us.
right.
Your enemies hate you. But when it's coming from your own, that's when it's a shock. That's when it's surprising
Right.
that your own hate you. Because the other nations, they, of course,
Yeah,
they're your enemies. Of course, they're gonna hate you. But it's a surprise when your own brothers and sisters that look like you hate you.
exactly. And see, that's what Christ was dealing with.
Mhm.
Your enemy being the enemy should not be some type of, oh my God, they're an enemy. No, what are you talking about? No, we're talking about your people. And I want to let y'all know something too. Listen, man, this whole Esau thing, Jacob and Esau, listen, man, that was simply a parable and an analogy between the righteous and the wicked of Israel, the believing and the unbelieving. That's what that was a parable of. And some of you brothers and sisters harping on Esau and all this stuff, you don't even realize you're Esau. In that story, in that parable, that living parable, you're Esau. That's why the Lord had showed that dynamic, because it was a shadow, brothers and sisters, of things to come. Within Israel, you have Jacob and Esau. Some of y'all gonna be Jacob and others gonna be Esau. Well, I don't know what that means. No, well, that's your problem then. That ain't got nothing to do with me. Now, we're gonna go ahead and go back. And I think we finished all of that, right?
You doing Matthew 13?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Here we go. Now, Matthew 13. As you know, Paul, he wanted to see if the Thessalonians, which are Israelites, he wanted to see if their faith wavered at the tribulations that they were told would come. He wanted to see. That's why he was sending Timothy. So let's go real quick to Matthew 13. And we're going to read verses 3, 5, and then 20 and 21. Okay, go ahead with verse 3. Now this right here, this is the parable of the sower. Go ahead.
And he spake many things unto them in parables, saying, Behold, a sower went forth to sow.
Okay, in that case, that would be like the apostles and anybody else who believed. Okay, and they taught the message of Christ. And said Israelite received that message. Okay, go ahead. Verse 5.
Some fell upon stony places where they had not much earth. And forthwith they sprung up, because they had no deepness of earth.
That's right. It didn't take root. Go ahead. 20 and 21.
But he that received the seed into stony places, the same is he that heareth the word, and anon with joy receiveth it.
Yeah, they hear it like, man, this sound good, man. This is great. Yeah, man. This make a whole lot of sense to me. Go ahead.
Yet have he not root in himself, but dureth for a while. For when tribulation or persecution ariseth because of the world, by and by he is offended.
And so it was a lot of brothers and sisters like that then, and you got a lot of them right now that go through that. And you got a lot of them, they hide the fact that they believe in Christ and that they believe that they're under Christ. But because of fear of who? The Romans? No, because fear of the Jews, fear of these elders and these teachers who they perceive have what? Power. They what? Leave off the faith. They cast off the faith. Because guess what? They're not willing to suffer. They're not willing to go through the rainy seasons and the scorching heat that's going to cause that seed to grow and take root. They're not willing to go through that. They're not willing to go through the harshness of the agricultural process for that seed to take root. And so thus, the seed is cast out. All right, now we're going to go back to 1 Thessalonians chapter 3. And we're going to read verse 6. Okay, and when you get there, go ahead.
But now when Timotheus came from you unto us.
Okay, so Timothy, he ended up going to Thessalonica, just like they said he would. He ended up going to Thessalonica. He got the report and he returned. He returned back to Paul in Silvanus. Okay, and Timothy told them the report of the Thessalonians, them Israelites in Thessalonica, and how their faith was holding up. Go ahead.
And brought us good tidings of your faith and charity.
Nice. So they held to the faith, brothers and sisters. It was rough. They was getting beat up by their fellow countrymen, terrorized. But it was reported that they held to their faith, and most importantly, they love. Go ahead.
And that you have good remembrance of us always, desiring greatly to see us, as we also to see you.
So they remember Paul, Silvanus, and Timothy. They remember the men that brought them the word. They remember. And they desired to see the men again. But you know how the Lord is. The Lord, he wants this word to spread everywhere. So a lot of times, Paul and them, they didn't really get the return like they wanted to. Because remember, this word had to spread everywhere. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and read verse 7 through 10. I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, it ain't nothing like a good butt whooping. It ain't nothing like some good tribulation and suffering to test to see where you are. And again, brothers and sisters, that's the only way to truly measure where your faith is. And that's the only way for your faith to grow, is when you're going through it. You can practice all you want, but it's something about the war. If I mess up, I will get my head cut off. It's something about the war that hones your skills, that perfects the unperfected. The perfect stimulus for growth. It's something, boy, ain't nothing like being in that box. It's something about it, brothers and sisters, it changes you. Pain is a good teacher. That's right, Cornell Bates. It's a good teacher. And don't let that word go over your head, brothers and sisters. Pain is good. It sucks, but it's good. Because that's how you grow. Don't children have what? Growing pains? Mom and daddy, my knees hurt, this and stuff, because they getting taller, they're growing. But it's good for you. Even when I go to the gym, I'm lifting weights. I'm benching what, 275 now? Hey, it hurt. Man, this junk painful. Man, this junk heavy. Chest sore and all that junk like that the next day. But it's good. Why? Because it's going to grow. It's the stimulant, brothers and sisters, for growth. It's the only way. What you was going to say, Zara?
Oh, no, I was just going to say that's the athletes do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so people will do it when it comes to that. They don't mind going through them pains.
Right.
You know, because they looking at, they want to win a championship. They want a championship ring. They want to hold up a trophy. They want to put a gold medal around their neck. So they'll go through the pains of conditioning, training, and practicing. But then they won't do it when they come to this word.
See,
you got to go through it.
And Paul called stuff like that I do, lifting weights, you know, where they be in the ring, boxing, basketball, football. He called that stuff a corruptible crown.
Corruptible, that's
because
right.
It's temporary, brothers and sisters. It's going to only help you out a little bit. But hey, man, at the end of the day, you're going to die.
Look at Kobe.
Look at Kobe. He had all them accolades, all them championships, died. Helicopter crash.
So just think about all the pain and the late nights and the staying after the practices and, you know, all of the training.
Out the
to
window.
Win all of these rings and things.
He left it all behind. And I remember they said Kobe in high school and stuff, he was the last one at practice, staying real late in the gym, just practicing, shot and all that. All gone by what? A helicopter crash. All that hard work, all that pain, all the gym time spent, gone just like that. But that's why we put our work in, brothers and sisters, for an incorruptible crown, an eternal crown, a crown of glory. See, when it comes to carnal things like sports, we understand this weightlifting and all this, bodybuilding, Mr. Olympia. Listen, we understand all of that stuff. But then when it comes to our spirituality, all of a sudden, we don't really understand what God's talking about. All of a sudden, all that go out the window.
Right. What's that scripture? Train up a child. And the way they go, look at that word,
train. That's right.
Training spiritually.
Yeah.
It really counts.
Yeah. So when you go through those trials and all of that, you're being trained. It sucks, just like practice sucks. But guess what? It's going to help you in the end.
Remember the disciples told Jesus, they said, oh, Lord, increase our faith.
Yeah.
But to increase it,
you got to get your behind
you're going to go through some pain.
Yeah, because they said that, oh, Lord, increase our faith. Well, in order for me to increase your faith, I have to drop a war on you. Mm-hmm. I have to drop suffering and pain. That's the only way. Mm-hmm. I have to give you over to bondage. That's the only way you're going to increase that thing. And again, we just had read, brothers and sisters, Matthew 13, some Israelites, they can't handle it. And they depart. They depart from the faith. Man, I can't handle this too much, man. I'm out here being the outcast, looking awkward, you know, people talking about me, people against me and stuff, man. I'm out of here. And that's what happened. Family don't want to be around me. And for Israel, I know that's a big thing for a lot of them, family. Because they got brothers, sisters, daughters, and sons that don't believe. And so they stay pressing their daddy or their mama who do believe. And the daddy or mama, they end up giving in to their unbelieving family. I can't do this, man. I got to be with my family. Well, Jesus like, see you.
Yeah, you haven't even been beaten.
You ain't even
been
received
slapped
stripes.
in the face, willed, put in prison, nothing.
That's all it took for you. Sad, man. Now, we're going to read, I believe I said verses 7 through 10, because we see that Timothy brought back the report to Paul and Silvanus. Silvanus, that these Thessalonians, which are Israelites, they held to the faith and they was doing better than ever, and they couldn't wait to see Paul, Silvanus, and Timotheus again. All right, so 7 through 10, go ahead.
Therefore, brethren, we were comforted over you in all our affliction and distress by your faith.
Which let you know Paul, Silvanus, Timotheus, they were still being afflicted where they was, because the affliction didn't stop, brothers and sisters. It followed them. That affliction and pain and suffering, that followed them through. And by much tribulation, you're going to enter into the kingdom. But they were somewhat relieved because they seen that these Thessalonians, they continued holding to the faith after getting they behind whooped. So it strengthened them. So we strengthen each other, brothers and sisters, when we stand in hard times and we keep the faith despite what we going through. We encourage, we inspire one another, and that's what we should be doing, and lifting one another up. Go ahead.
Verse 8. For now we live, if you stand fast in the Lord.
That's right.
For what thanks can we render to God again for you, for all the joy wherewith we joy for your sakes before our God?
That's right, because they kept the faith despite all the affliction and the pain and trouble that these Thessalonians went through by the hand of their own countrymen, by these fellow Israelites who didn't believe. The fact that they kept the faith, man, it did Paul, Silvanus, and Timothy, it did their hearts something good. Go ahead.
Night and day praying exceedingly that we might see your face and might perfect that which is lacking in your faith.
Now it says night and day praying exceedingly that we might see your face. And that's another word for saying, if the Lord will. In all things, acknowledge the Lord. And that's what they were doing. Because though they desired to see the Thessalonians again, that may not have been God's will. He said, yeah, I know you want to, but I need you to go on over here. Because this is the place I want you to go to next to speak my word. I don't want you going back over there to Thessalonians. But if it was the Lord will, he'll let them go over there. But it was the fact that they were acknowledging the Lord. And that's what we should be doing, brothers and sisters. In all things that we do, we should be acknowledging the Lord. Lord, if you will. Because one of the biggest illusions that man has been given is this sense of control. That is a lie, brothers and sisters. Satan peddled that mess to man. Yeah, y'all got control. You do whatever you want. No, you don't. God run this whole thing. And if he desires you to be somewhere or don't desire you to be somewhere, it's all the Lord's will. And it says that we might see your face and might perfect that which is lacking in your faith. Basically mean to strengthen you in areas that we may possibly see lacking. You know, just want to strengthen you. That's all he's saying. Okay, now we're going to read verses 11 through 13, brothers and sisters, and we'll be done. Go ahead.
Now God himself and our Father and our Lord Jesus Christ direct our way unto you.
That's right. So they direct their steps. So in other words, they was telling them where to go. I want you to go here. I want you to go there. And brothers and sisters, that's what happened in your life. That's why sometimes things don't go according to plan. Or some horrific things that happen in your life. Man, why this had to happen? Well, that's because that's what the Godhead desired. Because he's actually moving you on to a different path. You was going this way, but I want you to go that way. And that's how the Lord get down. And if you're going to walk with the Most High, you're going to have to accept that. You have a will and a plan for the way you want things to go. Hey, man, but the Godhead may say, you going this way. man, I plan on being here about 10, 15 years. Then I'm going to do this. Nah, the Lord say in 2 years, you're going to be over here doing this. And that's how the Lord get down. Y'all seen the little memes before where it say, your plan versus God's plan. Your plan be like this. And God's plan be like this. And that's how the Lord get down, brothers and sisters. Mm-hmm. And that's common to all believers. We understand that that's how the Lord moves.
That's why he said, I'm the shepherd and you're the sheep. And when you look at a shepherd take you to the valley, take you here, he take you there.
The key word, he taking you. The sheep don't determine where he going. No, the shepherd tell the sheep, you going over here now. The sheep going this way. Oh, it look like this where we going, because that's where the shepherd leading you. So you're like, oh, this must be where we going. And then out of nowhere, he get that staff, turn you the other way. Now you going this way.
And you say, man.
Mm-hmm. So, brothers and sisters, we have to accept the fact too that a lot of us we're living the lives of our father Abraham.
Yep.
If you a believer, you live in the life of your father Abraham. Get up, go here, sit right there, camp out right here. All right, time to get up and go here. We living like our father Abraham.
Sojourn.
Now the wicked Israelites, hey, they ain't hearing none of that. No, I'm gonna go where I want to go when I want to go. The Lord say, okay, but you know, if you stay here, it's gonna be a bomb drop right here. You're gonna blow to smithereens. Oh, I ain't hearing all that. I'm gonna stay right here. And sure enough, boom. But see us, we get up, we trust the Lord, just like our father Abraham. Get up, just like our father Abraham. Get up, go here. Okay, yes, sir.
Right.
Go up, go down. Go to this country, go to that country. Turn back. That's what we do. I was just finna say that, Shakitha, you read my mind. My sheep hear my voice. Then Abraham hear the Lord's voice. And we doing the same thing as our father. Now, back to 1 Thessalonians Chapter 3, where we was at.
Verse 12.
Verse 12, okay, go ahead.
And the Lord make you to increase and abound in love one toward another.
And that also happens too, brothers and sisters, because when you go through that tribulation, when you go through that trouble, it actually strengthens those things. Tribulation, struggle, especially when you suffering together with a group of believers, you go through a lot. That definitely sharpens up what? Your love. Sharpens up your patience. Sharpens up your kindness. And so that's actually how the Lord is increasing and abounding your love towards one another by bringing them fiery trials. That's how it's being increased. Because we'll read stuff like that. Oh, he's increasing it. Oh, he's making it stronger. Yeah, but how? No one ever asked themselves that. How, though?
Over times.
That's right. You get a box in the rain, you know, you in practice. The coach say, we finna make your head movement better. Okay, but how you gonna make the head movement better? Well, your coach put on the mitts or them gloves, and he starts swinging at their head. You getting hit all upside your head. Boop, boop, boop.
Right.
But eventually, guess what? All of a sudden, you moving more smoother now. You getting out of the way of them punches. You a lot better. Fight night come, you just moving out the way. But how did your head movement get to that point? You had to get hit upside your head.
That's right. Sure did.
You got to take damage. You got to take some pain. You got to be swung at. Lord, help my temperance. Oh, okay. I got something right here then that's going to help you. I got this guy right here. He real annoying. That's how the Lord works. Because I know some of y'all, Lord, help my temperance. He say, okay, I got this man and this woman right here, and they real annoying too. They gonna come and help you. That's how it works, brothers and sisters. I'm just keeping it real. That's how it works.
That's right.
No, and this stuff that, teachers, they don't teach this type of stuff, but that's how I get now.
Lord be training you.
Lord be training you, boy. And it be heavy. All right, where we at now?
Verse 13.
Okay, go ahead.
To the end he may establish your hearts
Or minds.
unblameable in holiness before God.
Because, your life is a living sacrifice to the Most High. Go ahead.
Even our Father,
Mm-hmm.
at the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ with all his saints.
That's right. With all his saints, meaning all those Israelites that believe, even from the beginning, starting with Abel. Okay. But that is it, brothers and sisters, for this lesson. I told you guys this was a relatively short lesson. Nothing too special, But again, when y'all come across stuff like 1 Thessalonians 3, when it says stuff like, and sent Timotheus, our brother and minister of God, don't overlook stuff like that, because we just be reading, brothers and sisters, with our brain turned off. Let's read with our brains turned on, and let's catch key words. Catch stuff that we used to hear in the Old Testament, stuff that we heard under Moses. Try to catch stuff like that. Try to spot those differences. Okay. But yeah, that's all I got to say, brothers and sisters. I hope you guys got some understanding in this lesson, and I will see you in the next chapter. Shalom.
Okay, number 1 and 2, source 3350, control still 570, box 3350, cabin 34. Number 1 8.